Vakratunda Mahakaya Suryakoti Samaprabha Nirvignam Kurume Deva Sarvakaryeshu Sarvada. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Namaste. Welcome to the 7th session of Gita Jayanti celebration. Today, we are going to study 6 selected shlokas from 6th and 7th chapters known as Atma Samyama Yoga and Dhyana Vijnana Yoga. Dr. Ravi Shankar will explain the meaning, significance, and importance of that famous Guru Stotra, Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, after presentations of Gita shlokas. Dr. Divakar and Dr. Srimati Ashwini Divakar will chant shlokas 1 to 20 from chapter 7 at the end of our session. Now, let's listen to Dr. Hegde sir and his team of teachers. Hegde sir, please.
Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha, Guru Sakshat Param Brahma, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Vasudeva Sutam Devam, Kamsa Chanora Mardanam, Devaki Paramanandam, Krishnam Vande Jagat Gurum. Before we take selected verses from the 6th and the 7th chapters of the Bhagavad Gita, we will be covering 6 verses today as part of our Gita's Jayanti celebration. I thought I will touch on something that we had discussed up to the last class on Dhyana, Karma, Sannyasa, Yoga, and the key verse being this verse, 18th verse of the 4th chapter, which says, Karmanya akarma ye pashyet, one who sees inaction in action, akarmani cha karmaya. That means one who is able to see the action in inaction. If you're able to, it sounds like just playing with words, action and inaction. So I just want to spend a little more time so that we are able to get something out of it, because Krishna praises so much. He says that person who has understood this, which I will touch on it again, he says, Sa buddhiman manushyesu. Among all the men, he is wise. Sa yuktaha, he is a yogi. And Krishna karmakrit, he has accomplished everything. What is so great about this inaction? The literal translation is one who sees actionlessness of the self in the action of the body. Right now I am speaking. My body is doing a lot of gestures. My voice is speaking. My mind is trying to communicate this to you. At the same time, I need to realize there is a higher force in me, the Atma, which is a witness, which is all pervading and therefore cannot do any action. So therefore, at all times, can you be aware of the actionlessness of the Atma in the action of the body? And then there is another aspect to it, to be able to see the potential action in inaction. That is what I would like to stress a little more. What is this potential action in action? I will give you an example of Shivaratri. Let's say today is Mahashivaratri. You wake up early in the morning. There is a lot of puja requirements to be done. You have to need to get a lot of things ready. And so many things you are doing, but there is one action that happens all day, which is a form of inaction. For example, on that day you are fasting. You are not doing anything. Now, although you are not doing, fasting is also a form of an action, although it is inaction in action. You know, action and inaction can happen in the body, whereas in the Atma, only actionlessness can happen. So there are 2 forms of action. One is the body can be in action. Secondly, the body can be in action even though it is in inaction. For example, fasting. So I will reiterate this. He who sees the actionlessness of the self in the action of the body. That is the most important part of the verse, really. Whenever I'm doing whatever I'm doing, can I be aware of that center in me, which is still like a wheel that is moving at a very high speed, but the center in me, the Atma Tattva me, is not in any motion at all. Second is the one who sees potential action in the inaction of the body. I'm fasting. I'm not doing anything, but that is also a great action on the day of Shivaratri. And Krishna gives a lot of importance to it. And all the forms of yama, like non-violence in thought, word, and deed, truthfulness, non-stealing, chastity, non-possessiveness. All these are examples of action, although we are not doing anything. I just wanted to bring that point. Coming to the theme of meditation, which is the crux of the sixth chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. I've spoken this before, but I would still like to reiterate what meditation is not for. A lot of people have an idea that meditation is very useful for moksha. Moksha is not something to be attained at a particular time, because it's like suddenly a wave realizing it is water. It has always been water. So there is not a point of time when it becomes enlightened or becomes realized. So meditation is not a technique for moksha. It is only through knowledge. Then is meditation prescribed for knowledge? Certainly not. Knowledge happens through our five senses, through pratyaksha, through direct perception, or through Shabda Pramana, through Vedas. And so meditation again is not a method of getting us knowledge. Is meditation for extraordinary experience? Our teachers strongly advise, let it not be so. So let meditation not be like an intoxicant like alcohol or something for me to feel good. So uh, meditation is more for seeing the meditator. In every experience, can I come in touch with that one who is the witness? And finally, meditation may give siddhis, may give spiritual powers. But when you get spiritual powers, you are still into the world of relativity. If I have some extraordinary healing power or ability to predict the future or any supernatural power, then what happens? I'm going to use it and it is going to be a part of my ahankara. And the whole spiritual work is mano buddhi, mano buddhi ahankara. So my ahankara should not be accentuated by any of these. These are the dangers of meditation which teachers warn us against. Then what is the role of meditation? The role of meditation is primarily this. Sometimes you see a person sleeping. He may be sleeping in a railway station or in the middle of bustling traffic, so much noise around, but there is so much of an internal stillness that the person is going through. Through techniques of meditation, can you be in the buzz of all forms of activity and let not the noise of your mind affect you one bit? That is why the Amrita Bindu Upanishad says, Mana eva manushyanam karana bandha mokshaye. We have a wonderful body, very organized, but our mind is not so organized. And therefore, through various techniques of upasana, it is possible to quieten the mind, to have the mind available for us for as long as we want. Right now, we are going through a process. Is it possible to keep my mind exactly where I want? That is through various techniques of upasana. And this gives us jnana yogyata. And once I have jnana yogyata, I am ready for spiritual knowledge. Once spiritual knowledge is there, I have spiritual knowledge that I am nityaha, shuddhaha, buddhaha. This is where Vedantic meditation or nididhyasanam helps us to internalize this teaching, and that is the role of meditation. Prakash Gera has a beautiful verse to explain. Over to you, Prakash.
Hari Om. Dhyana Yoga, Chapter 6, Verse 5. Uddared Atmana Atmanam Natmanam Avasadayet Atmaiva Hiya Atmano Bandhur Atmaiva Ripuratmanaha. In this verse, Atma denotes the body, mind, and soul. Depending upon different circumstances, one must deliver himself with the help of his mind and not degrade himself. Let a man emancipate himself by his own self. This verse is an exceptional fact about God realization. Man should not degrade himself, for he himself is his friend and as well as his own enemy. Initiating or being initiated is not the principle of the Gita. A man is his own preceptor. Therefore, he has to preach the gospel to his own self. When all is God, Vasudeva Sarvam, then who except God is a preceptor? And who will preach the gospel And to whom will he preach it? Therefore, the expression Udaret Atmana Atmanam means that instead of perceiving defects in others, a man should perceive defects in his own self and try to get rid of them and preach the gospel to himself. He himself should become his preceptor. He himself should become his leader, and he himself should become his ruler. Next slide, sir. Udaret Atman Atmanaha. A man should lift himself by his own self. It means that he should lift himself above the body, senses, mind, intellect, and self breath. Because all of these belonging to the matter, the nature, have identified only with the matter, the self. So there is no need of the body, senses, and mind and intellect to attain God, who is one's own. He is in him. He exists now and here, because the real cannot be attained by the unreal. The real can be attained by renouncing connection with the unreal. Natmanam, Natmanam avasadayet. He should not degrade himself. By virtue of his riches and ranks, he assumes himself to be elevated. This elevation is of his virtues rather than his own. This dependence amounts to his degradation. Now, how shocking and surprising it is that he regards his degradation as promotion and dependence as independence. Atmaiva hi atmava, Atmaiva hi atmano bandhuhu. A man himself is his friend when he accepts that there is no need for mundane things such as body, senses, mind, intellect in God realization. Secondly, we should have faith in his guide in God. They will lead him to God realization. By having this faith, he himself is his own friend. Atmaiva ripuratmanaha. He himself is his enemy when he accepts his affinity with the worldly body, senses, and mind. In the second line of the verse, the term iva has been used twice to emphasize the fact that he and only he himself is his friend and foe. Anyone else neither is nor can be his friend and foe. By accepting this affinity with the world, he is his own enemy. By accepting no affinity in the least with the world, he is his own friend. A striver, following the discipline of devotion, accepts that he is God's and God is his. And this feeling leads him to God realization. I am not body because the body changes while I remain the same. This body is not mine because I cannot keep this body healthy and in my possession as long as I wish. This body is not for me because if it had been for me, I might have not had any other desire. Secondly, this body is changeful while I am eternal. Thirdly, if it had been for me, it would have lived with me forever, but it does not live. Therefore, if a man thinks seriously and sticks to the thought, I am not body, I am, and the body is not mine, and the body is not for me, he will realize God spontaneously. This is an exceptional fact about God realization. अपना उद्धार स्वयं ही करना, अपना न करे अधोपतन. आप ही अपना बांधव होता है, आप ही अपना होता दुश्मन. हरिओम.
Thank you, Prakash. Nice verse which says one has to lift oneself by oneself and one can be one's own enemy. To accomplish anything in life, you need God's grace. You need Deva Kripa, you need Shastra Kripa, you need Guru Kripa. And this verse is saying, if Atma Kripa is not there, all the other Kripas will not be of any use. In neurology, you have, if I want to do something, the higher centers in the brain take a decision, they interact with other centers, then the communication goes down to the spinal cord. And finally, there is one particular nerve which brings out the action that is called the final common pathway. The Atma Kripa is the final common pathway. If Atma Kripa is not there, if I have no self-esteem, I may have everything else. And that is what this verse is trying to say. Be your own friend, otherwise your mind can be your own enemy. Dr. Raksha, for the next verse, please.
Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. In this verse 14, Lord Krishna is continuing with the teaching of Mano Nigraha before meditation. Controlling the mind is a very important and a difficult antaranga sadhana. The verse goes this way: Prashantatma vigata bihi brahmachari vrate sthitah manas samyamya matchittah yukta asita matparaha. Mind has disturbances from two quarters, the past and the future. When we are active and the mind is preoccupied, the regrets of the past or worries of the future remain dormant and surfaces at the time of meditation when the mind is quiet. Prashantatma, having a quiet, a serene mind. Vigata bihi is to remain fearless. Bihi is anxiety or worry, and vigata is to give up. How is this possible? We should pray God to give us a sattvic mind, to take the essence and forget the experience. Like sugarcane in the mouth, we extract the sweetness and discard the residue. Or like a hamsa, which has kshira nira viveka. We must be able to learn from our past experiences to face the future with a relaxed mind. Manas samyamya, a mind which is free of disturbances. Such a mind alone is available for meditation. Brahmachari vrate sthitaha. Brahmachari is a student. He does not have any relationship except with Guru, God, and scriptures. The concentration in Brahmacharya ashrama is so brilliant and powerful that makes the breath and mind steady. This is the kind of concentration we need to develop by withdrawing the mind and reducing all the relations. Yuktaha, a sadhaka practicing meditation should be on his guard against all obstacles. Mat chittaha, mat paraha. So, withdrawing the mind from external objects and fixing on the object of meditation, which is the supreme goal. The meditation can be on the form of God, which one can easily fix his or her mind, depending on the aptitude, temperament, and so on. For God is one with different nama and rupa. Hari Om, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Raksha, for explaining the state of mind that is required, which is conducive for meditation. As rightly said, that you have to be mentally a brahmachari. That means you have to cut off all other relationships. The only relationship for a brahmachari, as you explained, is God, Shastras, and Guru. Two things which always disturb whatever has happened in the past and whatever is going to happen in the future. There are two magic words which can help us, and one is the word thanks, and the other is the word yes. For whatever has happened until now, if I can say thank you, because that has helped me to grow, even if it was an unpleasant experience. And for whatever is going to happen in the future, I do not know what it is going to be. My answer is yes. I have the ability to take it. With this mental statement, meditation becomes more conducive. Radha, next verse for you, please, 6th chapter itself.
Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Sarvabhutastatmanam sarvabhutani chatmani ikshate yoga yuktatma sarvatra samadarshanaha. Here there are three key words, and I will just go by those words only. With that flow only I'll go. Yoga yuktatma is one such word, ikshate and sarvatra samadarshana. Now what is yoga yuktatma? Yoga yuktatma is through yoga one is united or established in the self. Now here the yoga refers to the pranayama. Any sadhana that we do is always with the mind. We are always working on the mind because the Atma or the self as such is a siddha vastu. There is nothing you need to do about the state of Atma. All that we need to do is bring our mind to that state. Now, how does one work on this mind? In Yoga Shastras, there is only one way to work on the mind, and there is no other way, no other scope, and that is pranayama. Before we do any japa, any homa, any meditation, or any sadhana that we do, we are always asked to do a couple of pranayama rounds and then start with the practice. Now, the pranayamas that we are being taught nowadays outside we are not talking about that pranayama here. Sri Krishna is not mentioning about that pranayama where you have to inhale the air from outside and work on you. Here, the prana shakti, the life force energy, which is available within our own body, it always keeps going, flowing downwards. And that is why we are always into this, in the middle of this, you feel that I'm in the middle of this ocean or samsara. So through this pranayama, through the practice of this secret vidya, this downward movement of the prana shakti is redirected and it is made to take a U-turn from down below, and it is taken up in the body up to your Ajna chakra. And here the sadhaka experiences a divine light. And here the word ikshate exactly fits in. Now this kind of seeing, which is beyond all the doubts, this is called ikshate. When the sadhaka reaches this state through doing the pranayama, the mind gets evaporated like a camphor and it is absorbed totally into the consciousness. Here we might have heard so many times about our gurus telling us seeing is being, experience is being, that kind of words they use. Here the ikshate or the seeing is nothing but being with the consciousness. And once this happens, this kind of seeing happens, there is a samadarshana or a samadrishti. Here, the distinction of where I begin and end kind of ceases to exist. And there is oneness everywhere. The sadhaka or the enlightened master sees oneness everywhere, consciousness pervading through everything, each and every object, inanimate, animate object in this world. And that is called samadrishti. Oneness is established totally. And this verse especially is the expression of an enlightened master. If I have to think of an appropriate example to denote this, Annamacharya, a celebrated poet, composer, singer, and a bhakta of Lord Venkateshwara, when he reached this state in his sadhana, he just bursts into a song and a dance. It is a proclamation. It is announcing to the whole world how you feel about it. And I really, this song really resonates with the verse that we are talking about. And here Annamacharya says, Tandanana ahi, tandanana pure, tandanana bhala, tandanana bhala, tandanana bhala, tandanana. Brahmamokate para, Brahmamokate para, Brahmamokate para, Brahmamokate. Tandanana ahi, tandanana pure, tandanana bhala, tandanana. కందువగు హీనాది కలిందులేవో అందరికి శ్రీహరే అంతరాత్మ ఇందులో జంతు కులమంతానొకటే అందరికి శ్రీహరే అంతరాత్మ శ్రీహరే అంతరాత్మ శ్రీహరే అంతరాత్మ ತಂದನಾನ ಆಹಿ ತಂದನಾನ ಪುರೇ ತಂದನಾನ ಭಲ ತಂದನಾನ ಭಲ ತಂದನಾನ ಭಲ ತಂದನಾನ. The song goes on like this, and he describes how the sunlight falling on an elephant or on a dog is the same, how the ground ground on which a Brahmin walks and the Chandala walks is all the same. The song goes on like this, explaining the equality and oneness in the universe. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Radha, for explaining this verse about Yoga Yuktatma. That means essentially we are training our mind, because moksha that we are looking for, or Jivan Mukta, is not a sadhyam. It's not a goal to be attained at a particular time. It is a siddha. It is something that we already have. But because of the Avarana Shakti, we are not able to see it. And where is the block? Our block is in the mind. That is why teachers gives various techniques like pranayama and other techniques where you have greater control on the mind. And once you're able to go through the filter of the mind, once the uh, mind itself is removed, that means you've gone through the mind, you discover that you are already the water. Although you identified with a wave which was limited and finite, you discover that you've been the water all along. And then you see what is called the Samadarshana. Once you have identified with your true nature, Sarva Bhutatma Bhutatma. I am not only the Atma in my body, I am the Atma in everybody. And that is what this beautiful verse says. Padma, we now go to the 7th chapter. Can you give us the explanation of a verse from the 7th chapter, please?
Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. In the earlier 6 chapters of the Prathama Shatkam, God was not mentioned much. The next 6 chapters of the Madhyama Shatkam is all about Ishvara. Ishvara Swarupam, Ishvara Upasana, and Ishvara Anugraha. In this chapter, Lord Krishna imparts knowledge to Arjuna, thereby to us. Our original Vedic scriptures and Vedic mantras were not created or composed by human beings. They are supposed to be revelations to the rishis in their meditations. They were heard and are called Shrutis, and were handed down to us by Karna Parampara, listening, and are still relevant and supreme. Hence, we chant Vedic mantras by paying obeisance with reverence to the rishis as an expression of our gratitude. Coming to the verse, Jnanam teham savijnanam idam vakshamyasheshatah yajnatvaneha bhuyunyat jnatavyam avashishyate. Translation: I shall completely impart to you this jnanam along with vijnanam, gaining which knowledge nothing more remains to be known in this life. Lord Krishna tells Arjuna, follow my teachings and you will have jnanam, spiritual knowledge of me, that is Ishvara, and he gives knowledge both phenomenal and nominal. Lord Krishna divides the nature of God into two folds, a lower nature, jnanam, and a higher nature, that is vijnanam. Jnanam is the knowledge of Saguna Ishvara. The God's form we visualize is Suguna Swarupam, or lower nature. Lord Krishna calls it Apara Prakriti. For we cannot conceive of a formless, attributeless God. Therefore, we have Vedas, mantras, and even stories describing, praising the beauty and wonderful attributes of God, which we visualize and conceive with devotion. Thus, we have Kula Devata, Ishta Devata, and so on. Next is Vijnanam. Swami Param explains, Vijnanam here does not refer to science. It is of a higher nature of Ishvara, which is all pervading, called the Nirguna Swarupam or Para Prakriti. Both Apara Prakriti and Para Prakriti are Anahati Tattvam, meaning it is beginningless and endless. Both of them are the cause of the universe. Ishvara evolves and manifests himself into the world. We can say that the world is a manifestation of the Lord. Also, Saguna Jnanam means Veda Jnanam, meaning we see a difference between Ishvara and Jiva. So it is Dvaita Jnanam. Nirguna Jnanam or Vijnanam is Abheda Jnanam, meaning oneness, which is Advaita Jnanam. Swami Param says, the beauty is when a person is at the Saguna Jnanam level, he sees a difference between God and the devotee. This is Veda Jnanam. And when a person elevates his Jnanam and knows the Nirguna Swarupam, he finds Abhedananda, that is no difference between God and the individual. It is like realizing that the waves and the mighty ocean are of one and the same form, both essentially water, that is Satchidananda. Lord Krishna tells Arjuna that having understood and gained this knowledge, both Dvaitam and Advaitam, you will have knowledge that is doubtless, total, and complete. asamshayam jnachasi. The Mundaka Upanishad narrates a story where Saunaka, a householder, goes to sage Angirasa and asks, Kaspino Bhagavo Vijnate Sarvam Idam Vijnatam Bhavanti. What is that knowing which everything becomes known? And sage Angirasa conveys the same teachings that Lord Krishna teaches to Arjuna. Jnana Vijnana Yoga. That is the knowledge of the Absolute. That is the yoga of Jnanam and Vijnanam. Hari Om. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Padma, for giving us the explanation of this verse where Krishna introduces a new level of understanding of God. He says, from now on, don't expect to see God in form alone. That is my lower form. There is also a higher form that you which you know, and that we will see as godliness. And he says, if you're able to discover my higher form, of course, after going through the lower form itself, you will have whatever knowledge that is required, and you will be free from samsara at all three levels, at the physical level, emotional level, or the intellectual level. Shri Krishna begins with a great promise and a mature understanding, a shift from God to godliness. Next, another important verse for Sukanya. Sukanya, please.
हरि ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः मनुष्याणां सहस्रेषु कश्चिद्यतति सिद्धये यतताम् अपि सिद्धानां कश्चिन्मान् वेति तत्त्वतः. Among thousands of human beings, very few strive for liberation. And even among those who strive for liberation, a rare one knows me in reality. This is the meaning of this verse. Lord Krishna here is glorifying Atma-jnana, that is spiritual knowledge, by saying it's very rare, it's very precious, and only a few take it up, so that Arjuna gets motivated to pursue. Among the 5 life principles, Purusharthas, that is Dharma, Artha, Kama, and Moksha, people in this materialistic world are inclined more towards Artha, that is the materialistic oriented job. Then Kama, desire oriented. Dharma, righteousness. Accordingly, they strive to attain their material needs. They don't generally think beyond these 3 Purusharthas, and there is also a misconception. Moksha is something that we attain immediately after death. Death itself is moksha for such people. They fail to understand that human life is sacred, very rare, very precious, and therefore they need to use this life for spiritual pursuit to attain moksha. This is indicated in Viveka Chudamani verse, Durlabham trayame vaitat daivanugraha hetukam manushyatvam mumukshatvam mahapurusha samshayaha. These 3 things in life, that is the human birth, aspiration for spiritual knowledge, guru, and the satsanga. These are all blessed only with the grace of God. So why not make use of this precious life for inner growth? Once such a thought occurs, you don't know how to go about with it. So a search for Guru, Shastra, and Upadesha begins. Tadvidhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya upadeshanti te jnanam jnanina tattvadarshinaha. Here again, being not able to find a proper guru, many people back out. And even after finding a guru, not being able to understand or assimilate the knowledge that he gives, many people again drop out. So only a few lucky ones who cross over all these initial hurdles continue the spiritual journey. First, it is the inclination for spiritual pursuit. Next, it is the search for Guru, Shastra, and Upadesha. Next, it is the faith in Guru, Vakya, and Shastra. Then comes Sravana, Manana, and Nididhyasana. Thus, many people drop out in the journey at various stages for various reasons. Due to lack of interest, ignorance, family problems, health problems, not finding the right atmosphere, not finding a guru, etc. But a steadfast, serious seeker who crosses over all these hurdles will continue the spiritual journey and finally attain the knowledge which is called Moksha Shastra. This can be compared to winning gold in Olympics. There are thousands of sports aspirants who get qualified for the event and who go through rigorous training. Many get dropped out due to physical fitness and other parameters. Only a few of them enter the semi-finals, and among them, very few enter the finals. And finally, only the deserving reaches out to the gold medal. The message here is very clear. One needs to be steadfast in continuing the journey to attain eternal happiness. Hari Om. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Sukanya, for a nice explanation of this verse, which says how lucky we are among the thousands and thousands of people we have been able to get this spiritual knowledge. But then Krishna gives another caution. Even among us who have come here, many tend to drop off. So let us motivate each other. Let us work in satsanga to see that everyone is able to succeed. Everybody is able to get that wisdom. And in this particular life itself, such opportunities are very rare, and let us make a commitment for it. We have another exceedingly beautiful verse in this particular chapter. Dr. Satyanarayana, please.
Om Shri Guru Bhyo Namaha. The verse goes like this. Mattaha parataram nanyat kinchidasti dhananjaya mai sarvam idam protam sutre manigana iva. The verse meaning goes like this. Mattaha parataram nanyat kinchidasti. There is no other cause at all apart from me. Mai sarvam idam protam. All this is stung in me. Sutre manigana iva. In a string like beads. Krishna says, O Arjuna, there is no other cause at all apart from me. All this is stung in me like beads in a string. Normally, when we study the creation, we observe that every cause has its own cause. We are products of our parents. So, our parents are our cause. But they are the product of our grandparents. Likewise, if God is the creation, is the cause of creation, who is the cause of God? Krishna says, I am parentless parent of this creation. I am the causeless cause of the creation because I am never an effect of anything. Parashakti, which is conscious principle, is Anadi. Aparashakti, which is inert principle, is also Anadi. Parashakti and Aparashakti put together is God. Therefore, God is also beginningless. All products exist because of intelligent cause and inert material cause. Pots have potter as intelligent cause and clay as material cause. All ornaments have goldsmith as intelligent cause and gold as material cause. And all furnitures have carpenter as intelligent cause and wood as material cause. Next slide, sir. When you look at the mala, the beads are visible. Within the visible beads is an invisible sutram. Because of the thread alone, the mala is there. Without the thread, there is no mala. Similarly, I am inherent in the creation. Sutre manigana iva. Just as the beads are threaded together by the string, similarly, the whole universe is threaded together by the string called God. Krishna says, I being the material cause of the creation, I am sarva antaryami. I am the inherent principle, the cause of whom the whole world is together. If somebody asks, where is God? You should not answer. You should ask a counter question, where is he not? Next slide, sir. God is Jagat Karanam, the cause of this creation. Because of the intelligent cause and the material cause, which means not only God has created the world, but God himself has evolved in this universe. Mattaha anyat kinchidanasti parantaram. There is no other cause for me. I am the ultimate cause. I am the absolute cause of the creation. The main idea that Krishna wants to convey is that the entire cosmos is the manifestation, the evolved form of the Lord. Do not imagine God as a person sitting in a place, but learn to understand that the very universe is the manifestation of God. And when I learn to look at the very world as the manifestation of God, that vision is called Vishwarupa Darshanam. Krishna wants to refine our understanding that Akasha, Vayu, Agni, Jala, Prithvi, All are manifestation of Para and Apara Shakti. Hari Om, sir.
Thank you, Satyanarayana, for giving us a nice explanation of this particular verse, especially the second half of this verse. My sarvam idam protam sutre manigana eva. I pervade in and through this whole world in a very invisible manner. Shri Krishna now wants us to see godliness in and through everything. A very nice exercise given to us by Swamiji long back is he shows us his hand and says, you are able to see my hand. In addition to my hand, can you see something else which is very evident? And he gives a clue. You're able to see my hand because of that. It is not part of the hand. It is not a product of the hand. It is not property of the hand. It is an independent entity. And many of us are not able to deduce. I'm able to see something other than the hand, that is light. So because of light, I'm able to see the hand. Now, I'm able to see the hand because of my eyes. My eyes are functioning and I'm able to see because my mind is behind my eyes, and I'm able to see this hand because of the light, because of my eyes, because of my mind, because of my consciousness, which means in every experience can I see consciousness. That is pratibodha viditam matam sarvam idam prote sutre manigana eva. That means that is the divya chakshu that we need to develop when I see anything and everything around, to be able to see Sri Krishna in an invisible form as the consciousness within my mind, or the one that is the enlivening power of my mind. Dr. Ravi Shankar will explain the very popular Guru Mantra. Over to you, Dr. Ravi Shankar.
Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha, Gurur Sakshat Param Brahma, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. This is an often cited verse right from our childhood. In simple words, it means Guru is Brahma, Guru is Vishnu, Guru Dev is Maheshwara. Guru is verily the Param Brahma, the Supreme Brahman. Salutations to that Guru. In the Skanda Purana, Uttarakhanda, there is a description of Parvati asking Lord Shiva, the knower of all knowledge, to teach her about Guru and liberation. Lord Shiva benevolently gives the teachings to Parvati and hence also to the people at large, describing the Guru principle, the Guru Tattva, as well as the way to worship the Guru and its benefits. This is known as Guru Gita in the Uma Maheshwara Samvada. It has about 400 verses, and this present verse is the 58th. Let's delve a little deeper into this verse. When we as a Shishya or a Sadhaka recite this verse, we mean our Guru, which is my Guru himself, is in the form of the Supreme Brahman, Guru Eva Param Brahma. He appears as the creator of knowledge, which is Guru Brahma, the preserver of knowledge or sustainer of knowledge, which is Guru Vishnu, and he appears as the destroyer of ignorance, which is Guru Deva Maheshwara. To such a Guru, I worship, I prostrate. While Brahma, Vishnu, Maheshwara are creator, sustainer, and destroyer of the Jagat and has a timeline and is finite, the Guru creating and sustaining knowledge in the mind of the initiated and at the same time destroying the ignorance is equivalent to the dawn of Jnanam, which is a one-time transformation here and now. There is no going back and it is eternal. What does a Guru do? Oftentimes a sadhaka says, all right, I bow to a Guru. What is there in it for me? Now, God is the means and the world is the goal for a artha or a artharthi bhakta. Or later, when God is the goal and the world is the means for a jignasu bhakta, or when the God is neither the means nor the goal, but I myself am that, when the seeker becomes the sought
the Guru satisfies all these kind of bhaktas in this very nice verse, which is also from the Guru Gita. The next one, sir. Jnana Shakti Samarudasya Tattva Mala Vibhushitaha Bhukti Mukti Pradata Cha Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. This Guru who has the beautiful Tattva Mala, he is adorned with the Tattva Mala, and that Tattva is the Jnana Shakti. He gives Bhukti, which is our Artha Kama Dharma, which is prayas, as well as Mukti, which is Moksha or Shreyas. So the Guru can give all of this. This is the answer to what is there in it for me. And for such a Guru, what should I do as a Shishya? Karmana through action, Manasa through thought, Vacha through speech. Sarvada Aradhyet Guru. Always bow and pray to your Guru. Dirga Dandham, next slide, sir. Dirga Dandam Namaskritam. Imagine all these bamboo sticks, and when the knot which keeps them tied across the wall is removed, they all fall down all at once. Dirga Dandam Namaskrityam. Nirlajjo Guru Sanidhav. In the presence of your Guru, without any ego, complete surrender is essential. I prostrate to that Guru in the human form, as well as to that Guru Tattva, who is ever existent consciousness bliss principle, who is none other than the Param Brahma. Shri Guru Bhyo.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ravi Shankar, for the nice explanation of the very popular Guru mantras and also the real significance of a Guru, because everything that we speak, everything that we live, everything that we are is because of the wisdom of the Guru, and we need to acknowledge that every moment of our lives. It is now time for some story meditation, and before we come to two short stories, we will just go through this very famous line of Swami Vivekananda, who popularized this line: arise, awake, and stop not till your goal is reached. And you will know, if you study the Upanishad, that this comes from the Kathopanishad. The verse goes there: Uttishtata Jagrata Prapyavara Nibhodata. Uttishtata means arise. Jagrata means wake up. They want us to wake up, approach a wise person and accomplish wisdom. This is what the words from the Kathopanishad say. So the whole spiritual process is a process of awakening. The three levels of awakening are called Pratibhasika. From a dream level, we wake up to this level of awakening called Vyavaharika. But just like we have woken up from a dream, our teacher says there is a higher level of awakening, and that is what we are working for, which is called the Paramarthika. In this context, I would like to share two short stories. The first story is about a little boy who was asking his father, Papa, tell me a story, tell me a story. And the father did not think of any story, and so he made up one story. He said there was a worm. And the boy got very interested. Then what happened? He said this worm got up early in the morning looking for food, but he did not know about the early bird. So an early bird came and ate him up. Then the father said there was another worm, lazy fellow. 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock in the morning, he was still sleeping. A boy comes out to play and he sees a sleeping worm. He takes a stone and crushes it. The boy looks at his father and says, Papa, what is the moral of the story? So the father says, either way you lose. Let me come to another story. This is the story of Radha and Krishna. And they were having some discussion and they had to take a bet. And they were looking at what are the stakes. And so Radha said, if I win, you will become mine. And if I lose, I will become yours. So from a Paramarthika level, either way you win. From a purely materialistic life, whatever you do, it is a no-win situation. Hari Om. Thank you very much. We conclude today's class by a chanting of the 7th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, the first 20 verses by Dr. Divakar and Dr. Ashwini. Over to you, Dr. Divakar and Dr. Ashwini, please.
हरि ओम् अथ सप्तमोऽध्यायः ज्ञानविज्ञानयोगः श्रीभगवानुवाच मय्यासक्तमनः पार्थ योगं युञ्जन्मदाश्रयः असंशयं समग्रं मां यथा ज्ञास्यसि तच्छृणु।
ज्ञानं तेऽहं सविज्ञानम् इदं वक्ष्याम्यशेषतः यज्ञात्वा नेह भूयोऽन्यत् ज्ञातव्यमवशिष्यते।
मनुष्याणां सहस्रेषु कश्चिद्यदति सिद्धये यततामपि सिद्धानां कश्चिन्मां वेत्ति तत्त्वतः।
भूमिरापो नलो वायुः खं मनो बुद्धिरेव च अहङ्कार इतीयं मे भिन्ना प्रकृतिरष्टधा।
अपरेयमितस्त्वन्यां प्रकृतिं विद्धि मे परां जीवभूतां महाबाहो ययेधं धार्यते जगत्।
एतद्योनीनि भूतानि सर्वाणीत्युपधारय अहं कृत्स्नस्य जगतः प्रभवः प्रलयस्तथा।
मत्तः परतरं नान्यत् किञ्चिदस्ति धनञ्जय मयि सर्वमिदं प्रोतं सूत्रे मणिगणा इव।
रसोऽहमप्सु कौन्तेय प्रभास्मि शशिसूर्ययोः प्रणवः सर्ववेदेषु शब्दः खे पौरुषं नृषु।
पुण्यो गन्धः पृथिव्याञ्च तेजश्चास्मि विभावसौ जीवनं सर्वभूतेषु तपश्चास्मि तपस्विषु।
बीजं मां सर्वभूतानां विद्धि पार्थ सनातनम् बुद्धिर्बुद्धिमतामस्मि तेजस्तेजस्विनामहम्।
बलं बलवतां चाहं कामरागविवर्जितं धर्माविरुद्धो भूतेषु कामोऽस्मि भरतर्षभ।
ये चैव सात्विका भावाः राजसास्तामसाश्च ये मत्त ये वेति तान् विद्धि न त्वहं तेषु ते मयि।
त्रिभिर्गुणमयैर्भावैः येभिः सर्वमिदं जगत् मोहितं नाभिजानाति मामेभ्यः परमव्ययम्।
दैवी हेषा गुणमयी मम माया दुरत्यया मामेव ये प्रपद्यन्ते मायामेतां तरन्ति ते।
न मां दुष्कृतिनो मूढाः प्रपद्यन्ते नराधमाः माययापहृतज्ञानाः आसुरं भावमाश्रिताः।
चतुर्विधा भजन्ते मां जनाः सुकृतिनोऽर्जुन आर्थो जिज्ञासुरर्थार्थी ज्ञानी च भरतर्षभ।
तेषां ज्ञानी नित्ययुक्तः एकभक्तिर्विशिष्यते प्रियो हि ज्ञानिनोत्यर्थम् अहं स च मम प्रियः।
उदाराः सर्व एवैते ज्ञानी त्वात्मैव मे मतम् आस्थितः स हि युक्तात्मा मामेवानुत्तमां गतिम्।
बहूनां जन्मनामन्ते ज्ञानवान् मां प्रपद्यते वासुदेवः सर्वमिति स महात्मा सुदुर्लभः।
कामैस्तैस्तैर्हृतज्ञानाः प्रपद्यन्तेऽन्यदेवताः तं तं नियममास्थाय प्रकृत्या नियताः स्वया। हरिः ओम्।
श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः।
हरिः ओम्।
Thank you, Dr. Ashwini. and Dr. Divakar for a wonderful chanting. Thank you, friends, for your rapt attention. With this, we have come to the end of today's session. On Wednesday, 2nd December, we will study a few more shlokas. Let's meet on Wednesday evening, same time. Please log in before 6:45 p.m. local time. Let's conclude with Shanti Mantra. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om.